And that was Marty Morrissey and Donal O'Grady. Cyril Farrell, Tomas McCahey and Gerlach Nan here in our studio. No doubt about it in the end.
Yeah, great display by Tipperary, Michael. A great team display. And again, when you have a team display, you want certain players standing up. Full back, Paul Curran, fantastic. Centre back, Conor Mahoney, back to himself again. The two boys midfield, McGrath and Brendan Maher, brilliant. And then up front, Noel McGrath had a great game centre forward. I suppose John O'Brien had a game of his life, got 5 points in play. When Owen Kelly seemed to be going quite next, he pops 2 goals. And Lara Corbett, these guys, it was a great team effort. And OK, there was 1 or 2 lads that didn't play well. They'll be very, very confident going through. I know Waterford will be disappointed, but I can tell you one thing, the people that think that it's a cakewalk in the park for Kilkenny for the 5 in a row, they'll have different things to say tonight, because this Tip team have kind of...
last week it was going to be a cakewalk in the park.
But not for Kilkenny, because anything can happen. Tomás, usually go for 5 or 4
no, absolutely. It's a different game on now, right?
Yeah, but Tomás, hold on a minute, you're cutting in all day. Hold on a minute now. When you're trying to win 4 or 5 in a row, things outside the game can go wrong for you. Kilkenny, Shefflin, Kilkenny...
Tommy Walsh, we gather, has suffered an injury in the club match today and is now doubtful.
And OK, Kilkenny will still be favourites, but to me the game is going to be 50-50 after that, because Tip are back where they were, and they will improve again from it. Very good display, and they're right, they'll be happy to be there, and Kilkenny are running into trouble off the field.
Right, it's your turn on the ball.
No interruptions.
Can I speak now, sir? Yes, sir. Yes, Master. No, great team performance, I must say. And kind of there in the second half period, you give credit to Waterford. They did up the ante a small, but they went back to the traditional 15 placements on the field as well, right? And brought the game to Tipperary. And at times you were saying, geez, are they going to do this? Because they really actually knocked over a couple of points. And the one thing that I thought was wrong about Tipperary's game today was bringing Owen Kelly way out the field for frees that were crucial frees, at crucial periods in the game, right? He's very much better in the closer to the goal, taking those frees. And when they switch him to Noel McGrath, he nailed 2 65s, which I think were crucial frees in that second half period. Again, you say Owen Kelly up front was quiet, but again, gets the 2 goals, and they were the important scores at the end of the day.
OK, let's hear from the Tipperary boss. That, of course, is Liam Sheehy, and he's now talking to Joanne Cantwell.
Well, Liam, I know you'd be disappointed with the goal at the end, but apart from that, would you call that comprehensive?
Yeah, Waterford are a top-class side. We knew they were going to bring a huge challenge to our team today, and in fairness to the lads, they prepared really, really well, and thankfully, we needed every bit of it. In fairness, we got the goal at the vital stage in the first half, and it just gave us a bit of impetus going into half-time. And, in fairness to Waterford, they came roaring back at us again at the start of the second half, got 3 unanswered points. God, this is, because in fairness, they have real fighting qualities in that dressing room. But, we found our flow again, and we struck some lovely scores, and, just overall delighted with the performance. Again, we've racked up a nice score up here, so it's just great to be back in the final. And
tactically, you look to have got it spot on. Would you agree with that?
Well, Joanne, every time you win, you get it right tactically, and every time you lose, you get it wrong. So that's just the way it goes. In fairness, just give the lads their space, give them their room, and let them play. In fairness, they do that, and they love what they do, and their commitment and effort, since the end of May has been impeccable. And as a Tipperary man, to be involved in them, I'm very proud of them.
But puck acts all worked a treat. No, McGrath's positioning worked well.
Yeah, it was just today where everything seemed to flow for us, and in fairness to the lads, they got some great scores, and Owen's 2 goals in the second half, and even, John O'Brien struck some great points at vital stages. And in fairness to Waterford, they never stopped trying, and they had us back to 6 points, and you said, God, if they get another goal here, but in fairness to the lads, they stood firm, and just delighted to be back in the final.
Yeah, you speak about Waterford's fighting quality, but that's absolutely something that's there in this Tip side as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. In fairness to them, they've had their backs to the wall before, and they've come out fighting, and it's just as I said, it's really great, because there's a lot of hard work goes into every team, I guess, but this bunch especially, I think, in the last few months have worked really, really hard, and they crave to get back into an All-Ireland final, and thankfully we're in there now.
You mentioned Owen Kelly. There are obviously big worries about him over his back. It's nice to have somebody half injured out there being able to do things like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's a special player. And I think the game needs to have all its special players. But Owen is top class. He didn't really get much chance to train in the last number of weeks. He gave his back a twinge. But I think you just see how much that guy wants it. And I guess when the adrenaline of a big game starts to flow, you don't feel any pain. And I'm sure he'll be sore in the morning, but it's all worthwhile now.
I bet it is. You came so close to Kilkenny last year. How close do you think this Tip team is to last year? Are they better and similar about Kilkenny?
Just let me catch me written. I'll talk to you in the morning. Is that fair enough?
No questions about the Cats. Is that what you're saying?
No, absolutely. As I said, today was all about qualification. We wanted to get back into a final. As I said, 2 years ago we put down a horrible 3 weeks in the build up to the 08 final, and that was in the back of our minds today. We didn't want to come out of here, so having come out of here now, we're just delighted to be back in the final.
Oh, well done, and good luck with it.
All right, thanks, John. All right.
That's Liam Sheedy, of course, the Tipperary manager. The Cats are for another day today. They won their place into that All-Ireland final. That's all that matters, I suppose, at this stage. The thing about it is, Ger, you know, Waterford gave it their best shot, I guess. But when the game loosened up, we'll say, towards the last 15 minutes, then the gap in class was beginning to become obvious.
Well, you see, I've been saying all along that there are some teams that come to Croke Park and they play a different game than they play anyplace else. You know, Tipperary seem to love Croke Park. Look at the two games last year. Look at the game against Galway. Waterford don't play as well in Croke Park as they play in other places. Croke Park is that little bit faster. You know, the pitch is that little bit faster since the new pitch came here. Yeah. And the faster it is, the more it suits Tipperary. Now, I think Donald O'Grady made a great point there towards the end. He said in this game, what's this effect? In this game, there was enough for Tipperary to be satisfied with, but there was also enough for them to worry about and to work on between now and the All-Ireland. Conceding too many frees. Missing frees, not taking Owen Kelly off the frees soon enough when he wasn't scoring. Still a few problems in the half-hour line. I think they left two of that half hours there a bit too long. But overall, you know, their defence, you know, they gave away 3 goals against Galway, 3 goals against Cork, but totally different today, you know, totally different, really solid. There's no panic going over what the lads said. They're spot on in what they said. Their central men, their key men just dominated. They were like a real Tipperary team today, forceful, driving forward, and if they can just remedy those few flaws, there's 5 in a row isn't there yet.
Yeah, well, this was the worry, I suppose, from Tip supporters' point of view coming into the game. They knew their forwards could score, they knew they were racking up good scores, but as Gerard said, some of the goals they conceded, was as said the last day against Galway, 2 goals, and one of them like a real mess.
But like the thing is, you have big game players there. The likes of Conor Mahoney were questioned beforehand, say he hasn't been as good this year as other years, but he is a big game player, and when the blood gets flowing, usually these guys come good. Now today again he dominated. Pádraig Maher, who was an all-star fullback, coming back to himself. Declan Fennan, now Waterford thought to be caught for pace, but once he steadied down he wasn't caught. Now the two John Milan was still a handful, no matter who he's on, like Paddy Stapleton is a good hurler, but John Milan is a handful for anyone. But Corn got completely on top, and Mickey Cahill is the old style tip cornerback, kind of like John Doyle or Mickey Maher or Carey, like hard graft to just get out. And then you had the 2 engines midfield. These guys midfield, like Gowan Varel McGrath and Brendan Maher. So like it's up front, the little tweaking will have to be done the whole time.
All right, let's now get the thoughts of Tipperary Shane McGrath. He's now talking to Joanne.
Well, Shane, you're still trying to catch your breath. I suppose you made it